Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. Thanks again for joining me and being interested in this work with the Akashic Records. I am glad to be here. I cannot believe it's just been a week. We are 1 week into this new administration. Lots of energy going on with that. We also have the new Lunar New Year this week. So, big stuff to think about and talk about. If you are new to joining me, my name is Betsey Grady. I work with the Akashic Records. I'm an Akashic Records consultant. I have been doing this exclusively as my sole work for 8 years now, maybe going on 9. And I should be teaching this sometime, hopefully this spring or summer. Got a lot to pull together personally to get that on the road, but that is in the works in the future. I will be teaching, and I cannot wait to share it from the teacher's perspective. Anyway, that's news to come. That's later on. I hope you are signed up for my newsletter, because in that you'll get that kind of information, events or workshops like that I'll be doing. And I'm also going to be in Birmingham, Alabama next week. So I will be there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, February 5, 6, and 7. I still have some openings there. If y'all want to get on the schedule, I'll also be sending that out in the newsletter too. So thanks again for joining me. I'm going to read the Akashic Prayer, and then we will see what general message the guides want to bring through. And I call them the guides. You can call them the record keepers. You could call them the masters of the universe. But kind of all the same thing to keep it simple here. There is difference. There is a difference, yet I'm just going to refer to them as the guides for the most part. Okay, so when I have a session with you, I always read the prayer, and I always invite you, if you feel comfortable, if it feels right to you, just let yourself relax, close your eyes, and just be open to kind of what comes into your mind. And maybe it's a little nudge for you to ask a question this evening in the comments, or maybe it's just something the guides will pick up on and address. So, anyway, be open, let yourself be receptive, and here we go. Okay. I ask God if He will have a shield of love and truth around you permanently, so only God's love and truth will exist between you and me. I allow the masters, teachers, and loved ones of you to channel through me out of whatever realm to say whatever they wish. I ask the permission of the Lords of the Akashic Records, so I'm able to look into the records of you and remove whatever information I'm allowed. Okay. Okay, a couple of things. And just a little reminder, as in a session with me, I often look up. And that's so what the guides want to start with today. Just a little bit on the heels of last week, we are in a great period of change, and we have seen what this first week in the new administration in the U.S. is doing. And again, it's some of us are celebrating what we're seeing. Some of us are really concerned about what we're seeing. Some of us are angry. Some of us are sad. Some of us have compassion. Some of us are high-fiving our neighbors. So wherever you are with that, the most important thing is to know the divine is not judging what's going on here. And it's important for us to remember to let go of judging when we can also. It doesn't mean we can't have strong feelings and strong opinions about what's happening. Yet, when one thing we humans do is in our reactions to things, we tend to label and name, and we want to put things in a box because with the label, so we know how to deal with it and we know how to process it. And that's very understandable. And what the guides are saying, just be mindful of how you're feeling and really get in touch with those feelings and what those feelings are saying to you. So a lot of instances, Well, the two sponsoring emotions for anything is going to be fear and love. And they want you to really get in touch with what you're feeling and which side is that coming from. And be kind to yourself in all of this while you're watching this change occur. And because it's easy to get swept up in, especially if you're not in favor of what you're witnessing, or maybe it's eliciting a little bit of fear. You didn't see this coming. Or you're really feeling for the people that are being immediately affected by the executive orders that are going on. So remember, love heals, and love is a high vibration. And so if you find yourself in a fearful place, do what you can to get back into that love place. See if you can raise your vibration. Or if you can't, if that feels too far of a reach for you, to understand, reach for that next best feeling. Um, so the guides are saying they will always, 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 always tell you to be mindful of your energy and what is sponsoring the energy you're having. And remember, thoughts are energy. And judging and blaming, all of those things, or even feeling, powerless in a situation, or victim might be another word for that. All of those are in the lower vibrations. So remember David Hawkins' map of consciousness. Can you move yourself up the scale a little bit? And if you need to pull that out and stick it on your fridge or somewhere you see it every day, to kind of just be a personal, kind of guidance system for yourself, do that. So one thing the guides are saying is change is happening, and the U.S. people, and not even just the U.S., people all over the world. COVID came in and really just kind of, it was like a crater hitting, and we've just been dealing with these aftershocks, and this has affected the whole world. And now this is what the guides are saying. And they are saying, so we are still feeling reverberations of that. And while they have lightened up a little bit, they're still pretty sizable. And the guides are saying the entire world, the majority of the world, the dominant vibration was people asking for change, and change in their country, in their communities, just wanting to see something different than what's going on. And whatever that change looks like, the guides are saying we all want the same thing. We all want to be loved. We all want to feel safe. We all want to be in a community that we feel accepted and can be a part of. We all want harmony. And so how we all are going about it, or ideas of it, differ. Yet we do all want the same thing. And the guides want to assure that what we're seeing right now, especially in the U.S. with the new administration and things that are taking place, it is affecting the world. And they said this is a part of a global consciousness, or a global request for change. And so that's what we're getting. We are getting change. And they want you, all of us, to kind of step back from reacting to that and understand that what is happening is great change. Can your thoughts dictate a trajectory or an outcome? Sure, especially when it's a collective thought. There's power in numbers, there's power in prayer, there's certainly power to shift things when like minds come together with the focused intention. Absolutely. Is this a call for some of you to start that or participate in that? Maybe. The guides say one thing is change is here. The whole world asks for it. We are in the process of it. And in the speed of it, it feels overwhelming. It can. And in that, place of feeling overwhelmed, we can arrest ourselves and just maybe even be in a little bit of shock. And so what the guides are saying, just come back to how you feel. Like, come back to how you feel, how things are feeling. And is this feeling a call for you to soothe yourself in some way, to reach for a higher perspective in some way? Or is it a call to get involved in some way? It may be. So they do want to reassure change is happening. It is a giant request. We are in the process of it. And it feels like sometimes the speed of it, we're not in control and we can't label and we don't understand what's happening. And that is accurate. They are saying that is very accurate. And so it's even more important right now to stay grounded, to stay kind, to stay loving, and to really be mindful of your feelings and understand what that means for you. So this is a very personal thing, and yet it's a very global thing. Hang on one second here. So while we can't necessarily see, what this change is going to look like in another week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we have to trust on some level we signed up to be here for this. There's a role for us to play in this. And so I would say look within to find out what is being asked of you. And that's not being asked of you from anyone else except your soul, your inner guidance. And if you don't know how to be with this, then just be kind to yourself and be the best way you can be with it. And don't even judge yourself for not knowing how to be with it, if that makes sense. So lots happening. Okay, here, let me see what else they would say. They said one of the dominant issues, and they would have you look at this as you kind of go through this next week. And again, this is kind of step back, hold a different perspective. They said so many people here, so many people here have a need to feel safe. And that is an underlying root cause for so many people and their attitudes and behaviors. And they said if you could remember that and you try and look for that in others, it might help you have a little more understanding and a little more compassion. Doesn't justify behaviors and attitudes, yet it explains it. And they said it's always nice to take a higher perspective. So do that where you can. And then remember, honor whatever's coming up for you in it. And let go of any judgment of even that. If you want to rant and rave and say nasty things, you know what? Do it. And just don't judge yourself for it. Let it out, because you certainly don't want to keep it in the body. So this too, what they are saying, not only are we experiencing change globally, but when they say personally, they mean personally. It is about you and how you're reacting to this, and understand where those reactions are coming from. And either this is something to celebrate for you, or it's something that's really traumatic for you. There's not a whole lot of in between here. And so they want you to really dig in there and see, and I'm going to venture to guess most of you watching are concerned about what's going on, feel it's traumatic. And so they want you to really look at your reactions and see things that are coming up for you, especially if they come up fast and strong and big. It could be old stuff that's coming up to be healed. And you can even look at the situation like that now. If you are, celebrating what's happening here, then look at what need in you is being satisfied. And so this is about digging deep within you and how to use this global change, because it is global, even though it feels like it's originating here in the U.S., which kind of is with this administration. Understand what it's bringing up for you to know about yourself and how you're being here on the planet. So, wow, that's really, interesting. But we are it's like the guide said, we do all of our best personal work in relationships. We just do. And in our closest relationships or significant ones. And that could be, a partner, a family member, it could be a boss, but they're saying we can use it too for how we respond to things in the world that are on this kind of scale. And I never even thought about that like that, but use it to see what reactions are coming up and what that says a little deeper about you, what's in that root, whether it's a need or fear or something that needs healing. So interesting. Okay, let me see if they have anything else with that. Let's see. Well, since we're on this, we have a question typed in here. Are these current events something we were aware of when we created our life plans, or is this somewhat unexpected? Okay, that's a great question, because some things in our journeys, they're written out. They are destined, maybe predetermined, so to speak. And then, of course, we have free will here. So much of our journey, we're making it up as we go along. The one thing that I love this question, before we incarnate, we acknowledge what our soul wants to experience. We acknowledge how we want our individual soul to evolve through this particular lifetime and what we're hoping to understand or in whatever way we want to evolve. So regarding the current events, let me ask if that is... I am hearing this is not exactly written into the detail we are seeing it. Is it written in that great change would sweep across the world at this time? Yes. Was it written in what kind of sweeping change would come across the world, like from the pandemic, from obviously what's happening now in the US? They said, no, these are things. So the one thing that would be written in would be the sweeping change, would be the massive, wake up. And were the details figured out? No. Are they divinely orchestrated along the way? Yes. Are there bigger things at play besides our individual guides coordinating and orchestrating? They said yes. I'm so glad you asked that, because one of the things they're also saying, there's a lot of people that did not vote in this election. And it's almost like, so those people too are finally paying attention and realizing, that their voice matters in some way. And this really is touching everyone. It's kind of like the pandemic, the guides are saying. Not anyone is going unaffected, just like the pandemic. So did the pandemic do enough to put us on a new trajectory of harmony, love, that kind of healthy mindset, that collectively we all want? To feel safe, to feel loved, to be accepted, to be, in harmony with community. The pandemic did a degree of that, not enough. Did some people want the pandemic to go along longer? Yeah, because they were seeing the results. I mean, smog went away in LA and Texas and, all these different places. Wildlife was back on the beaches in the Gulf. And it's just, people were learning to play and be with one another again. So were really wonderful things happening? Yeah. Did the pandemic last long enough? No. So is this something else that's coming in to kind of give us that next shove? Yes. So that's a great question. Okay. Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for sending that in. Okay. So each week, when I do the sessions, I always start with a general message from the masters, the guides, and then I will answer questions that are submitted to me during the week prior to the session. So if y'all want to send something in for next week's call, and maybe we'll have time, I can answer it today typing in. Write to me at Betsey, Betsey, that's 2 E's, at betseygrady.com, and that's Grady. And I have it, I think, in my notes here on the show. So you're welcome to send in there. And if you go to my website, betseygrady.com, and the contact page, you can sign up for my newsletter there and also submit a question through there too. So, okay, let me go to the questions that were submitted. Okay. All right, my question. I've experienced visually noticeable issues with my hair for the past 4 or 5 years. I've done traditional tests, normal supplements without improvement. I know you had mentioned it may be on another level, emotional, etc. Can you please ask the guides as to what may help heal this issue? Does my life path 33 have any bearing on any of this? Any guidance is most appreciated. Okay, let's see here. So the guides would have you look at your hair as a reflection of, or a symbol, maybe it's more symbolic of your personal power, of your strength, of the strength you feel within yourself. And when you start to lose your hair, now this may be true for you, it may be true for everyone, for some of you, but this is your answer. They are saying they would have you really look at your life and where you started to feel, I don't know if I want to say like you were losing your power, giving up your strength in some way. I don't know if you, and I'm not going to say fighting for something, but just passionate about something and really feeling like you have permission to reach for what you want. And so there's, in some way, what they're showing me, it's kind of like, we all have a light within us, and they want you to take a moment and look at this light within you as the sun, and imagine that sun is starting to get eclipsed, and that would be the equivalent of kind of losing your power, losing your light, dimming your light. So where have you dimmed your light? Maybe for others to feel safe, for others to feel better, or to not shine so bright and really stand in your power because you're more concerned about others' experiences. Or maybe you don't really believe it's meant for you this lifetime. So they would say that's what your hair is attached to. So they would have you look at that and ask yourself, where can you take a step forward for yourself in this lifetime? Where can you identify a need you really have, a desire you really have, and go for it, step towards it, and see in that what fears come up, what might be limiting you there. I am hearing that this can be overcome. It's not like permanent. I know alopecia, scarring alopecia, that's really difficult to reverse. And I'm not hearing that's in your case right now, that this is something you can overcome. And they would have you, instead of looking for these solutions externally, look at internally and see what you could do to step towards a goal, a dream you have. And I'll see if they'll give me a hint on that for you. Let's see here. I'm hearing there's something to do with art, with beauty, to bring to the world. So could that be through writing, music? Could it actually be through art? I would say there's something in your creative nature to really take a step towards. And you, the more you move towards that, I would say the hair is going to be a marker of how you're feeling. When you start to really see a change there, I think that it's going to mirror a change in your life also. And honestly, it might be a big change you have to make. Maybe one you don't want to make, but I would say there's something there that's asking you to deal with it and move towards something that will make your heart happy. So thank you for asking that. Okay. All right. Let's see. Is the pendulum a tool that I can use to get quick answers from my spirit guides and my team? If so, how can I differentiate their answers from those that might be coming from my ego? Wow, that's a really great question, too. Um, and I can't remember if I said this in last week's show or not, so if I'm repeating it, so guys must want it repeated. But I did a session where a woman's father came through. He's never come through in any reading she's ever done with anybody, and she's I think in her might be 70 or something. But anyway, it was really cool because he told her that she could communicate with him with the pendulum. And I'd never thought of that for some reason. Just never even occurred to me to communicate with someone on the other side like that. Spirit guides, divine, sure. Anyway, so however we communicate, it's just so unlimited. I love that, these tools are out there. So in answer to this question, because when we do use a pendulum, pendulums work on that yes or no, um, and that pendulums will often, well, sometimes they can tell you what you want to hear because it's like they're reading your heart energy. And so how that is such a good question. How do you tell a difference when it's true, from the heart or from the ego? So they said, the guides are saying, um, on one hand, they said you'll know. It will just, you'll know because you'll know if and how you respond. Mm, if it's your ego or not. So they said to be really clear about how you respond to whatever comes through. And does it feel reassuring? Does it feel uplifting? Or is this a little bit of, I think that's just what I wanted to hear? Then you have to be, open to that awareness also. So they said part of the work of the pendulum is really learning to be honest with yourself. Wow, I've never heard that either. So they said it's deeply personal work, and you have to really be honest with yourself. And you will, in your mastery of this, in your walking in awareness, come to that conclusion where it's telling you what you want to hear or it's really answering you. Now, one thing they said you can do, and this is just a little tool, you can take hang on here, like take little pieces of paper and you could write yes on one, ball it up, no on one, ball it up. You could put maybe later or the time is not right. Whatever answers you might want, ball them up. Mix them up and put them right out in front of you and ask the question from your guides and see whatever one it swings to, because then you don't know what the answer is, so you're not tainting it in any way or biased in any way. And they said practice that, use that until you feel confident and you can tell a distinction. So another thing you could do, pendulums are really fun. And I remember reading one time, like if I wanted to know a particular month that it might be good to do something in, you can again draw like a semicircle or half circle with the months in them and hold the pendulum and see what month it goes to. Um, and if you want, close your eyes and go that route. But they are highly effective. You can communicate with your guides with them. You can communicate with loved ones with them. And when you start out, just ask, can I use this pendulum today to communicate with whoever it might be? And if it swings yes, great. If it swings no, then maybe later. Try again. Um, so thank you for asking that. It's fun. Okay. All right. For my application to a writing conference, do I submit 20 pages from my finished manuscript, or do I do a submission that includes a couple of essays and an excerpt from the manuscript? Thanks. Okay. Well, they are saying to do a couple of essays and an excerpt from the manuscript. hmm And part of the reason they said it showcases a variety of your style, and they said there's depth in each piece, and yet it's very different pieces you're sending. So that's what I'm just here to tell you. So send the variety, send a little mix up. Okay. All right. I have one more submitted questions, and then I can hop over here, you guys. Okay. All right. I feel like I'm at a crossroad and not sure what's next for me. So I don't want to read the whole thing here, but this is a person. I write a weekly newsletter. I do one on one financial coaching. I work part time at a wellness center. Uh, let's see here. I also co own an urban spice online store, and I do motivational speaking engagements telling my story. So I need to increase my income so I can hit my goals for 2025. I would like help from the spirit guides of what my next step should be to have an increase in 2025. Okay. All right. Well, okay. So the guides are saying think of um, hmm, they said to put it simply, there's too much there, and they would have you bring that in and pick one or two things that really you could pour your energy into, your focused attention into, and your focused intentions into. And they said they would put these in order of priority of which one makes your heart sing the most. And one thing that I'm hearing is that all of these things will be beneficial at some point. They'll all be like done together in kind of a coaching thing. But I am hearing, let me see if they'll tell me which one. Hmm. Okay. All right. It looks like the motivational speaking is something to really put your time and attention into and really making that a priority. And whatever you do to get gigs for yourself, whether it's hiring an agent that starts landing you those gigs, but at those events, it's like so much can happen from there. Can you, eventually have that website where everything's under this umbrella, like work with me, for one-on-one financial coaching, or work with me for this, or, pick up these spices while you're at it. So the thing is, people want to know you. You are the brand. And so you have to start building yourself as the brand. And then it's like, these are all the things that I'm good at, that I can help people in. But you have to make yourself the brand first, and make that your focus, your target, so to speak, and start building that, and really imagine your light shining, radiating out, and attracting people who want to work with you. And you'll attract people that want to work with you in these specific areas, because that's going to be under your umbrella. But it really looks like, how can you make you the brand, not the spices, not the financial coaching. It's like, no, this is me. This is what I do. This is what I'm good at. These are all these things that I'm good at. Does that make sense? So it looks like just a matter of restructuring and putting your energy in one place, and the others will kind of get pulled up in the wake with it. So they're all good things. It's like a little wheel spinning here, 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 but really you're the big wheel, and they're all within that. So hopefully that makes sense. Um, if you don't have a website, I'd say build a website, because it really helps you identify your brand and your message and what you want to put out there. And it gives people a landing, place to come and see what you're about. So when you do a newsletter or you do a motivational talk, people know where to go to find more information. So remember, you're the brand, you're the story. first. Okay, thanks for asking that. Hopefully that was helpful. Okay, let's see here. Let's see. Oh, good. So just, I don't know if y'all could see all the comments here. So I just want to tell you thank you for the advice you gave me regarding my brother and his kidney issue. Everything you said was spot on. He's doing much better. Yay, your suggestions work. That is so awesome. So awesome to hear. I think that was I think that we talked about intermittent fasting to help heal some of the issues he was having in his body. So that's wonderful to hear. If anybody else needed to hear that information. Okay, let's see. Okay, let me see what else. Okay. May I ask my guide Luther for a message, and is he responsible for presenting my recent angelic experience? I've sometimes gotten frustrated due to lack of clarity. Okay, let's see. Well, so Luther is funny, and he told me he called for backup on this one. So another guide came in and helped him. It looks like that would be the angelic experiences that he called on the angels to help, which brings me to they're glad you asked this question because we all have spirit guides, and we grew up, a lot of us, or at least I did, thinking we had guardian angels, and we do those too. Spirit guides are different than angels. There really is an angelic realm. There's an archangel realm. There's seraphim, cherubim. There's a lot. As a matter of fact, Diana Cooper, if I haven't mentioned her before, has done a lot of work on the angels and the realms and the dimensions. There's a lot of information there. So anyway, angels tend to watch and observe. Do they always? They intervene when they feel like there's an immediate need, or in a case, a guide might invite them to come in and help. And of course, you can connect with them too. Anything in divine, as far as angels, people that have once lived here, now in spirit, you can connect with them. Okay. Okay, let me see here. What was the purpose of things not working out with Callista? I felt like I followed the signs and ended up feeling a bit betrayed by spirit. Oh, gosh, isn't that's a good question. I think we have all been there. Like, I've paid all attention to the signs, and things still did not go the way I wanted. And remember, and I'm so glad you asked that, and I'm sorry that you felt betrayed by them. I would tell you, your guides will never betray you. Will they guide you into experiences for your soul to evolve? Absolutely. Are sometimes those experiences heartbreaking? Absolutely. And it's sometimes those experiences are meant to crack us wide open and really get to those vulnerable places within ourselves, or really reach for a different perspective that we weren't able to have prior. So I would say, if you're still feeling betrayed, there's probably a little bit more to look at there, and what that means for you, and what you need to see, because every experience we have here shapes us and allows us to evolve. And the more painful ones, I say, the bigger the evolution. It's kind of like when we go through trauma, or things that feel traumatic to us, how we respond and how we react really just lets us know there's old stuff in there that we're still carrying around. And that's why we're having the response we're having. Are there things that maybe you didn't see about Callista that you weren't seeing, you took a blind eye to, you wore the rose colored glasses on, maybe, and that would be something worth looking at too. Like, this is where you got to be really honest with yourself. And I would say, if somebody's really meant to be in your experience long term, as that partner, it's going to happen. It'll happen. That will be, orchestrated. And if somebody's not, you got to understand you're not vibrating at the same place. And so if you're doing your work and you're being healthy and you're, walking in awareness and you're really trying to maintain, a healthy vibe, and somebody is not in your experience, you're not lining up, and you got to trust in that. You may not see it. You can ask your guides to give you clarity, see what you need to see. It might take a year or two before you do, but I would trust in that. I would trust in my guides anytime, any day. And um, I know that could be a lot to ask, especially when things don't look like they're going so well here. But I'll tell you this, man, they know what your soul wants to experience, they know your desires. And they're only going to lead you towards those things. If you are being stubborn and can't see the messages they're sending, yes, sometimes the messages get really uncomfortable. So I would look more for you specifically with Callista at uh, where you're not lining up vibrationally. Where is that misalignment? Or uh, is she here and you here, and you need to, get on that vibration? I'm not sure. Hang on one second here. It feels to me, what I'm understanding is there are things you did not see about her, or this person. Um, hmm, like, the might have made assumptions about this person that weren't completely accurate. That there's more to see there about this person that may not really have served your highest and best. Mhm. So hopefully that's helpful. And yes, I absolutely do private sessions. Um, all right, let's see. And then if you want, you can go to my website and check that out and book appointments there. Let me see here. Okay. Thank you for asking. All right. Let me see if there's anything else here. Okay, here's one more question. In last year, I improved my diet, increased exercise, meditation to improve my heart function. Recent tests show a decrease in function. Any messages? Okay. A decrease in your heart function. So, like you need more heart health guidance, if I'm understanding that correctly. Okay, let's see here. Well, whenever we have heart issues, we do have to look at our emotional life and our um, and what's going on in our world, in our environments, that really fill our hearts up. And so, that is so weird. Well, it's not weird that you asked that question. I was reading something the other day, and I read that heart issues are the number one cause of death, and especially in women. And when I read that, I was like, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, because we women, we tend to be that more nurturing, uh, that just we kind of come from the heart. And women do tend to be a lot of givers and nurturing and taking care, and always helping others and putting others first. And so often what we're doing in an act of service and not necessarily filling our hearts up. And so the guides would have you look at that. So meditating is fabulous. Changing your diet, exercise, all of that's fabulous, because you know why? You're investing in yourself, investing. And so, but those are still things you have to do to get better. So there's an element of wanting to fix. So what they're saying is heart energy, heart health, emotional health, again, get out that David Hawkins map of consciousness scale. And how can you move up the scale? Where are you spending time? Is it sadness? Is it grief? Is it despair? Is it acceptance? Really look at that scale, and how can you move up? That's what's going to strengthen your heart. And if you have to be selfish, be selfish. If you have to go take an art class or take a singing class. Do something that makes your heart sing, and really imagine that you're building that singing muscle of your heart, and that energy is what you want radiating out. If you're surrounded by people that might have a lot of depression or health issues, you can easily get affected. And so one of the things your guides are saying, and they would do this right away, is rearrange your house. They would have you go move the furniture. They would have you hang different pictures around. They would get rid of some stuff. They said there's actually quite a bit of stuff you need to get rid of. Interesting. And they would have you start changing things in your home, lighten up, freshen up something there, maybe even change the color scheme. But they would like for you to start there and really feel your power in that. Make that home a reflection of who you are and how you feel about yourself. So think of your houses as a sense of self. And the interior is that inner self. The exterior is how other people see you or what you want, to project to the world. But they would have you start there for your heart health. So do some emotional work, but by doing some physical movement in your house. And they said you'll start to see a difference. Keep with the exercise, keep with the meditation, keep with the diet. Now, if the diet feels restrictive, and you feel like you're punishing yourself, then you need to change that. You have to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm loving myself so much. I only want to choose healthy things for me. But you know what? I just listened to NPR today. It was the Think show, I think, out of PDX called anyway. But they were talking about foods and ultra processed foods. But the girl that wrote the book, she's from the New York Times, she said, you know what, sometimes you just need that ice cream. And you know what, if everything else you're doing is pretty healthy and you're good to yourself and all of that, have the ice cream. And you can, that's the thing. Try not to judge yourself and your choices, and be mindful of, are those choices really loving, and do they just feel good? Because whatever you eat, it's really the energy you're eating with, the energy that comes behind it, that's going to make a difference of whether it's positive or negative for your body. So if you're eating something you feel guilty about, you're putting guilt in the body. If you're eating something that's like, you know what, I just want this, I love it, it's part of the universe, it was made, and I'm going to take advantage of it right now, and it feels good, then have it. So remember, everything is energy, even the food you eat. So I love that. But anyway, go rearrange your house, and then you'll have to, if you drop in another time, let us know. So thank you all so much for coming in. Hi to each and every one of you. I'm sorry I didn't get to get down and say hello to everyone, but thank you, thank you. Let me draw our two little angel cards for the week. Let's see what angels are with us. All right. This is our last week of January. Remember, we have the Lunar New Year on the 29th, and we are starting February next week. Lunar New Year, it's the wood snake. And according to my girlfriend Meryl, who is an expert in all things Chinese like this, she said it's a much more yin energy, which yin is kind of that female, nurturing, more peaceful energy, as opposed to the yang energy of the dragon last year, which is like dragons. This time think of a snake just kind of going down a stream. Okay. All right. So, wow, I think we drew this card last time, birth. If that doesn't really emphasize, we are all being called to give birth to something or really be in this change and see what it gives birth to within us, within our lives, within our families, communities, all of it. And I think this is perfect. Vision is the angel with it. And so it's like the guide said, be really clear how this is bringing change about in you and what you want to give birth to. So this is, yeah, be mindful of the vision you have for yourself first. And then we'll see how it affects the world. So, oh, you guys, y'all are so great. Thank you. Yes, cracking wide open. You know what? There's just no other way to be here, though. We got to crack wide open, let go, control, let it all in. We really are here to feel all the emotions and just get stronger and wiser and be able to hold that higher perspective, really step in to the light of who we are. And we have to crack open to get there. So, well, we don't have to, but most of us do. All right. Well, thank you again for joining. I will see you next Monday at 5 p.m. Eastern. And like I said, send some questions in if you have. Otherwise, we'll get to them here. Okay. Y'all take care. Bye.